if I told you the largest construction project in the United States stretches for hundreds of kilometers, yet 99% of people have never seen it? Not because it's small, but because it exists in places almost no one ever sets foot in. And the unsettling part is, it was built in locations where nothing should have been possible. So the real question is, how does a project of this scale even begin from zero? From empty land, with no roads, no power, no infrastructure. Because to make it happen, engineers had to build everything from scratch. And in the process, they came dangerously close to destroying the entire project. Everything began, not with machines, but with people. The first survey teams were sent into the area, long before any heavy equipment arrived. They had to work under extreme conditions. Strong winds, rough terrain, and no supporting infrastructure. In their hands were high-precision instruments, satellite GPS systems, total stations, and advanced terrain scanning equipment. Every marker was identified. Every coordinate was recorded. Everything had to be accurate, down to the millimeter. Engineers began drawing the very first lines. Across land that had never known structure, those lines would become the backbone of the entire project. This was the most critical step, because if it was wrong from the start, everything that followed would be completely misaligned. There would be no easy fix, no starting over. Then, marker stakes were driven into the ground, each position fixed with clear physical reference points. Paint was sprayed across the surface, forming guidelines that stretched for kilometers. These seemingly simple markings were the foundation of a massive structure yet to rise. Before any structure could rise, they had to create the most basic thing: access. The first bulldozers appeared on site, slow but incredibly powerful. They began leveling the rugged terrain. Rock was crushed beneath their blades. Soil was cut deep and pushed aside. Layer by layer, the surface was stripped away, revealing ground that could actually be engineered. Then, rollers moved in to compact the roadbed, pass after pass, ensuring the surface could handle enormous loads. Heavy trucks moved in and out of the site, delivering materials and removing unsuitable soil. On some days, hundreds of trips ran non-stop. But the greatest challenge was this: in many areas, there were no roads at all. The terrain was too narrow, too steep, or too unstable to handle any load. So, these roads had to be built from nothing. Not permanent highways, but temporary routes, just enough for machinery to pass through. And ironically, these roads existed for one purpose only: construction. Once the project was complete, they could disappear entirely. Meanwhile, hundreds of kilometers away, steel plants began operating around the clock. Massive furnaces glowed red hot, melting metal at extreme temperatures. Molten steel was poured into molds, forming billets before moving into rolling lines. Long steel sections were drawn out, passing through a series of rollers to achieve exact dimensions. Then, they were cut, drilled, and precisely machined. Every bolt hole, every connection point, had to meet near-zero tolerance. At the same time, enormous coils of steel cable were being produced. Each coil weighed several tons, tightly wound under immense tension to ensure maximum load-bearing capacity. No structural element was made at random. Everything was designed and fabricated as separate modules. This meant, once delivered to the site, they could be assembled, instead of built from scratch. But the next challenge was transportation. Heavy haul vehicles began moving, carrying components desatki meters long. Some equipment was simply too large to be transported in one piece. It had to be disassembled into hundreds of smaller parts, packed, labeled, and shipped in multiple loads. Every component was coded, so that on arrival, it could be reassembled exactly as designed. This wasn't just transportation. It was a complex logistics system where even the smallest mistake could delay the entire project. When everything was ready, the most critical phase began: the foundation. This was no longer preparation. It was the step that would determine whether the entire structure could exist. Massive excavators moved into position, lifting enormous buckets of earth, one after another. The topsoil was stripped away, revealing the geological layers beneath. In some areas, excavation wasn't simply about digging down. Each layer had to be handled differently. Soft soil, solid rock, and zones saturated with moisture. At certain points, they had to dig dozens of meters deep just to reach a stable base. During this process, water management systems were deployed. Groundwater was continuously pumped out to keep the construction zone dry. Once the excavation reached the required depth, engineers carried out final inspections. Levelness, compaction, load-bearing capacity, everything had to meet strict standards. Then, reinforcement steel was brought in. Long steel bars were placed in layers, interwoven and tied together. Workers used binding wire to secure every intersection, forming a rigid load-bearing framework. This was the skeleton of the entire structure. Every bar, positioned exactly according to design, even the smallest deviation, could compromise the structure later on. Next, formwork systems were installed around it, shaping the concrete that would be poured. And then, the concrete phase began. Hundreds of mixer trucks operated continuously, moving back and forth between batching plants and the site. Concrete was pumped into the foundation, flowing into every gap. Workers used vibrators to remove air pockets, ensuring density and strength. This process could not be interrupted, because if it stopped midway, the structure would be weakened. As the concrete began to cure, it formed a single, solid mass, immensely strong. A foundation, built not just to support the structure, but to withstand time, weather, and every force the environment could impose. Once the foundation was stable, the most dangerous phase began: structural erection. Massive cranes were assembled across the site, towering dozens of meters high with lifting capacities of hundreds of tons. Each structural component was brought into position, from long steel beams to connection blocks weighing tens of tons. The lifting process didn't happen quickly. It was slow, extremely slow, to ensure every movement remained under complete control, because even the slightest deviation could throw the entire load off balance. Engineers were positioned at multiple points, constantly monitoring lift angles, tilt, and applied forces. Data was fed into systems, calculated in real time. Steel cables were then tensioned, connecting structural points, forming a stabilizing system. Each cable tightened to an exact force. Too tight, it could fracture. Too loose, it would lose stability. At the same time, workers operated at extreme heights, moving along narrow steel beams, in strong winds and confined spaces. Every step had to be precise. When a component reached its position, the securing process began. Bolts were tightened, connections were checked repeatedly, ensuring everything aligned perfectly with the original design. Every lift was not just about mechanical power, but perfect coordination between human skill, engineering, and calculation. And at this scale, there was no room for error. And then, the deviation began to appear. At first, it was almost impossible to notice, just a few centimeters. But at this scale, every centimeter was no longer a minor error. It was the sign of something far more serious. Sensors started detecting misalignment. Data from multiple points no longer matched perfectly, and when it was all combined, the picture became clear. The system was losing balance. If construction continued, stress would concentrate on the weakest connection points, and at that moment, the entire structure could collapse in a chain reaction. The engineers were forced to make the hardest decision. Stop, not a partial pause, but nearly the entire operation. Then, they started again from zero but not building, analyzing, remeasuring every angle, recalculating every load, re-evaluating every force. Everything had to be reviewed. They worked day and night, under intense pressure of time and cost. Each connection point was dismantled, then reassembled with greater precision. Every cable was retensioned, millimeter by millimeter. This was no longer construction. It was the calibration of a massive system, until even the smallest deviation disappeared, and everything aligned perfectly once again. The final piece was installed, a step that seemed simple, but was the result of thousands of hours of labor and countless corrections. When the last component was secured, this massive system stood fully connected for the first time. No more gaps, no more misalignments to adjust. Every joint aligned with millimeter precision. The engineers paused. They said nothing. They simply stood there, looking at what they had built. No machines, no drilling, no sound of metal colliding, only silence. And one thing, the result. A project once considered impossible, now stood before them, real, complete, undeniable. A region once isolated was now connected to the world. New roads opened, transport routes took shape, travel time dropped dramatically, from days to just hours. But what changed wasn't just distance, it was opportunity. Millions of people could now access education, healthcare, and larger markets for the first time. Trade increased, economies grew, and life began to change, day by day. This wasn't just a structure, not just steel and concrete. It was a system that reshaped how people live and connect. They said it couldn't be done. Too large to control, too dangerous to execute, too unrealistic to exist. But they started anyway, and more importantly, they didn't stop. Even when everything nearly collapsed, even when the data told them to quit, they kept going. And maybe that proves something very simple. Limits don't truly exist. They exist only until someone pushes beyond them. So if you were standing in front of that project when every number was against you, would you begin or walk away?